In this segment from Montgomery and the River region, we are checking in with the local missions at Frazer United Methodist Church. Welcome to Join Our Town. I'm your host, Zachary Bigley, and we have a special guest for you today. Her name is Victoria Pullum. She's with In Christ's Way, which is an outreach ministry of Frazer United Methodist Church. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, tell us a little bit about In Christ's Way at Frazer. What's your background? How did you get involved with this ministry?
Well, I've been a member of Frazer for about 2 years now, and so and I've just got involved serving in different areas and met some different people in ministry, and they kind of found out my story, my testimony, and I guess it kind of got around a little bit and ended up in my supervisor, which is the contemporary pastor, Brandon Dassender, in his office. And so he called and asked if I would, consider taking that job because it would be a perfect fit. The In Christ Way basically is we provide financial assistance to people who are working, who can support themselves, on a monthly basis, and they just hit a hard time and they need help getting over that hump.
Good. Now, I'm sure that Pastor Brandon knows your history in Frazer, but we don't know your background. Can you real briefly kind of just tell us why is this so special for you?
So I'm actually a single parent, and so and I've just gone through some times, of course, as someone might think, financially, and so and the Lord has always provided and brought me through. And so in this particular season of my life, the Lord had kind of let me know that I was going to go through a season that was no fault of my own. Okay. And he was going to take some things out of my life and build me up to glorify him, and basically give me my ministry, which is what it is today with In Christ's Way. And so, but I'm able to, I've had to go without. There's some things that I've had to go through and go without so I can relate to the people that who God brings into my life to minister to.
Wow, it's amazing how a person's test in life, by the grace of God, can become our testimony and in turn allow us to help other people. So that's awesome that God really showed you that, helped you, and now you're able to turn back and help other people. Now, I understand that you serve, this ministry at Frazer serves a unique group of people, quote unquote, some that maybe fall through the cracks. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, like I said, there's it's those who work full-time jobs, who are able to support themselves, and they kind of get looked over when it comes to any type of assistance. And that's not just here in Montgomery, but that's pretty widespread. And so there's a lot of agencies that will assist people if you're below a certain income level or at a certain income level. And, it's like, hey, we want to help you out because you're without. Well, there's people who don't normally go without because they can provide, and they are without because something just came their way that was unexpected. So they're going through
just a situation, an unexpected event, and then you guys are able to come in and just kind of help guide them, get them back on their feet. Now, how prevalent is this need in the River region?
There's maybe a handful of agencies that provide the same type of assistance, and so, and from since I started working there, I only know of about 2 or 3 throughout the River region that provide the same type of assistance for people who have income, a steady flow of income. And so I wish we could do more.
Sure.
And so, but when people do come across my desk, I really do enjoy being able to help them because they sometimes feel like I have nowhere else to turn to.
Wow. And yet God always comes through.
Exactly, he
awesome.
does.
Are there specific qualifications that someone, basically to receive this type of assistance, is there some specific guidelines that you guys require?
All right, so the first one is you must have never received assistance by Frazer before. The second one is everybody over the age of 18 must bring in some type of income to where everyone collectively can pay all the bills in the house. The third one is you must have encountered some type of crisis that was beyond your control, no fault of your own at all. And then the fourth one is the next month, once we help you get over that hump if you're approved, the next month you're able to, go from there and pay all your bills as if the crisis, I guess, in a sense, never happened.
Okay.
So you can survive on your own for there.
Okay, so those are the 4 qualifications that someone needs to get there. Okay. Now, Frazer's obviously a church. You're a Christian. This is, join our town. And so how are you guys able to impact individuals that qualify under those specific qualifications? How are you guys able to impact their lives spiritually as well as, naturally, financially, etc.?
Well, I can say from the spiritual standpoint, anybody could do the job. But I do believe because of what the Lord took me through, all that He's done in my life and how I've had to humble myself, swallow my pride, and ask for help. That's really, really hard. So when people sit on the other side of my desk and say, I don't want to be here. I'm sorry to say this. I know it seems prideful, but I don't want to be here. When I say I get it, I completely get it. Because if you've been self-sufficient for so long, it's not a prideful thing as if you're arrogant. It's just people want to be able to take care of themselves. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And so when life hits and you have to ask for help, it really hurts. And so spiritually, I can come from that standpoint of not only compassion and sympathy, but also empathy. And I pray for them. And there's times we'll cry together.
Really?
And so, naturally, of course, you're not, prayer helps, but does it alleviate that immediate need for them? And so, we're able to do that. I'm able to not only say, hey, let me pray for you, but also, here you go.
Right.
And hope, I don't make the decision, but, I do try and pick those people that I know that would probably receive assistance, because I wouldn't want to call them in and put them through that, knowing that they don't have a good chance of receiving assistance.
That's right.
So.
And that's awesome. What a powerful just outreach, an extension of the Lord's hand per se. I like the in Christ way. And it's a way that you're able to help someone they're already going through the emotional, they already got, like you were saying, they felt self-sufficient, they didn't want to be there, and so it's like, oh my goodness, and you're able to say, look, I've been there. I totally get what you're saying. Don't feel bad. You're not weird. It's okay. Yeah. And how powerful is that from a spiritual standpoint, as far as a prayer plus a natural. Here, let me help you out. Awesome. Now let's talk about some financial coaching. You guys have financial coaching available as a part of this ministry as well, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that with maybe some details? Yeah,
the financial coaching is actually it's based off of the Dave Ramsey principles, and so it's actually a completely separate department, but we do partner together. And so some people, that I present to the committee when they come in for an interview, I present to them, and we have to look at their income and their finances. We put all that on a spreadsheet, so you have to expose yourself, make yourself vulnerable. And so sometimes we can kind of look at the spreadsheet and see that there's a little bit mismanagement of funds, or maybe, some people just don't know. And it's like, hey, if you do this, you won't be scraping by every month. So it's like, okay, not only will we help you financially, but, let's give you some free coaching sessions. And we do give them the information, but they have to take the step and call. And so, and sometimes if they do the free coaching, the people in the committee might say, you know what, we see that they're making an extra effort. Let's bless them again.
That's awesome.
It is.
That's awesome. And I've learned just firsthand how important getting a budget can really help turn your finances around.
It does.
People be surprised. Oh my goodness, you can actually get a little ahead if you just get a budget. That's awesome. Now, what's the goal? We're going to coming in for a landing here shortly. But what's the goal? What do you want people to take away from this encounter with In Christ's Way at Frazer UMC?
I want them to take away, first of all, that we're not just a big, huge church, but we actually we're not just a church where we want you to come in and serve, worship with us and stuff on Sundays or throughout the week, but we want to impact you regardless if you step within our doors.
Wow.
And this is one of those ways. Again, a lot of people, especially if they're not used to going to church, or, some people honestly are saying, I'm not really looking for Christ,
really?
but I'm looking for a need in my life to be fulfilled. And if we are the only Christ, as people say, if we're the only Christ that they'll ever meet, then let's do that regardless if they want to come to church or not.
I like it. I like it. It's so awesome. It's because you're reaching with a physical need, which is going to open their heart. Say, hey, I was going through a tough time, and this Christian was there for me.
That's
so
exactly
I like that.
right, yes.
That's really awesome. Now, once again, real briefly, can you tell me how you're able, in a sense, you got the coaching, you got the prayer. Is there anything else? Are you able to ever just tell them straight up about Jesus?
I do, yeah,
Good,
I
good.
do, and I'm able to do that, not in, I guess, the cliche way of, passing out a tract or
Right.
anything. It starts with literally saying, I understand.
Wow.
And then sharing, as the Lord leads me with certain people, not with everyone, to just kind of give my testimony.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them. I mean, the interviews only last 1 hour. I had one person in there. Literally, we sat in there for 3 hours.
Wow.
We cried, laughed, and the husband was actually kind of standoffish. He really was closed off because he was hurt by religion.
Sure.
And he was like, you've really impacted me. And he's like, I'm thinking about possibly, maybe I'll come to church.
Yes, that's what I'm
and I'm
talking
like,
about. I like it.
So I had to become vulnerable
Good.
and tell someone, this is what I'm going through. This is what I've been through. But, if I can strip myself down and tell you about how God has impacted my life, and I know He can do it in your life, then I'm okay with looking crazy for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. If He can do it for me, He can do it for you.
That's exactly right.
Super quick. Any last final thoughts?
Don't look at Frazer as a big church that is intimidating. We really do love to serve Christ, and we do love to serve the community.
Good.
And so, if you ever want to be a part of Frazer, and not necessarily be a member, you just want to try it out. Some people try it out for a couple of years before they become members. There's no commitment. It's just, come on, you know.
And learning, and if they need specific help, they can go to your website or call up there, and concerning this specific ministry, they can do so.
That's exactly
awesome.
right.
Well, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you for sharing your heart. What an amazing testimony. I'm big on testimonies because I know they work.
Yeah.
And so thank you again for all you're doing in our community. God bless you. This has been Join Our Town, this part anyway. Be sure to stay tuned for what's coming up next.